Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to introduce some other people. This is Angelina Teran from the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation. This is Bobby's family, Maria Ponte, his wife, and Bobby's brother, Freddie. Bobby's sister is also here.
My name is Luis Bayamanakoel, Ramos, Taino.
So we're here at the Bronx Native American Festival, and what I would like to ask you is, what is Taino spirituality to you in your life, and what does it mean to you?
Well, you know, when I think of Taino spirituality, the first thing I think of is the islands. The rainforest, the rivers, the waterfalls, the birds, the beach, the barbecues, the family, everyone having fun, you know? No talking about bills, no talking about problems, we're just having fun, you know? That for me is Taino spirituality, where the familia, the tribal way, is alive and well. You just talk, chat, have fun, listen to the music, and just be in a good space,
So I know you have a library here. If you can just please introduce to the people the kind of work that you do here.
Well, you know, the Mobile Indigenous Library, I started this like 3 years ago at Inwood Hill Park. I noticed online a lot of people, when they came to Inwood Hill Park, they want to know more about indigenous history, Manhattan Island. So I started with a few books, and people always stopped no matter what. And they were actually upset I wasn't selling any of the books, because, you know, they really liked it. So ever since, you know, I go to the different neighborhoods, especially where it's Taino people, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, whatever, African American, and I share the culture, you know, I share the words of wisdom from the elders, you know, history as well. So it's been really popular, you know, very popular. You know, just educating people.
Right.
These are kind of things, these are kind of books, kind of wisdom you don't get in colleges, you don't get in high schools. So hey, I want to show the people there's other knowledge, you know, there's other ways. You know?
So one of the last questions I would like to ask you is, how important is grassroots to the Taino community?
You know, it's funny, technology is awesome, man, like Facebook and all these different medias, you know, social media, but it's not like grassroots when you can see eye to eye. You can see people, talk to people, you know, maybe share a refreshment with them or lunch and talk about the culture, you know. There's nothing like that. That's grassroots, man. When you can you know, see, smell, hear, there's nothing better than that. And it's harder because, you know, you gotta travel, you gotta go to the neighborhoods. Sometimes they're not safe, but the people always come out. You know?
What about, how would a grassroots Taino lecture, what do you think that would impact on the community?
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. You know, I was doing research that back in the 1950s and 60s, they used to have these plays out in the neighborhoods to teach about the culture, because a lot of people were losing their Puerto Rican culture, you know?
Right.
And I think that's something that it's part of the idea too, the library, go to the streets and just show people the culture, you know?
Right, I agree.
Either you reintroduce them or make them feel proud, you know?
So for the community out there, is there any way for the people to learn more about what you do? Do you have any information where they can find more online? Do you have a website?
Yeah, you can go on your search bar. You can print out Indigenous Mobile Indigenous Library.webs.com, like spiderwebs.
Okay.
.com, and I have a website there, and you can go on there, and I'm updating the calendar of different neighborhoods where I'll be going. You can do that, or you can just Google it too. Mobile Indigenous Library. There's a lot of stuff. I got a radio show also for the library, so you can look that up.
All right. Well, this is Pete again, and thank you for taking the time to speak with me, and we'll see you soon.
All right, man. Taino T. Good job, man. Good job, Peter.
Peace.
We really have to think about a way we're going to change the way we live in order to leave the earth for our children in a better way. So this represents our mother. I also have her here. We all love to wear our jewelry, mostly made of shells. I see we never left the house. We may have been naked, but we never left the house with what's called our goitos, or our armbands and our leg bands. So what you see is what I just excited. This traditional coming.
Hi, my name is Valerie, Nanaturey, Vargas-Estevez, and I am Taino from Behike.
Hi, I'm Jessie Marrero, Urani, and I'm Taino from Behike.
So the first question I would like to ask you two is, what does Taino spirituality represent to you today?
Taino spirituality is complex. It relates to our love of family, our love of our Mother Earth above everything else, our cosmology, the stars, and visiting our ancestors through ancestral medicine. This is very important to us because we feel we get a lot of messages about who we are, about what we're here to do, and what our future entails. So to me, Taino spirituality takes a great hold of me on a daily basis. From the moment I open my eyes and look at the sun, and I thank Creator for everything. I try my best to take care of our Mother Earth. Today is the day of our climate march. I was unable to be there because I'm here supporting everyone at this Native American Festival, but that to me is so paramount. Saving our Earth, right now we're in dire trouble, and this is just so important to us. I hope that people understand and start changing the way they live, so that to protect our Earth, our stars, our planet, our universe for our children and all others that live here.
So what about you?
To me, Taino spirituality is, again, like Nana said, about the ancestors and about nature, Mother Earth, and our place on this earth as people living part of the universe. We're all connected in many ways, and we have to keep that in mind on a day-to-day basis of all of our actions. I also think it's important that we learn lessons from our ancestors and from the elders, for they've been on this planet a lot longer than we have. They have wonderful, powerful messages and lessons to teach us. I think we need to treat everyone on this earth, animals, people, spirits, plants, everything with a great deal of respect. As I said earlier, we're all connected, we're all one. And I too could not make the climate change march today because I came to this event instead, but I do feel it's very important, and I think we all need to work really hard to build our community and to unify so we can strengthen Mother Earth and thank her for all the gifts that we have thanks to her.
So I have one more question, and what I would like to ask is, how important is to have grassroots for the Taino community as far as self-education?
Grassroots is the most important thing we have going for us now. 25 years ago, there was the myth of extinction. We did not exist. 25 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, our people started organizing and communicating with each other, teaching our young about our heritage. And it was through this grassroots movement that many of those old anthropologists, those old authors who wrote about our extinction, have realized how wrong they are, and they've changed their tune. They've changed what they believe in. They know that we are here, that we continue to be here, and that we're not going anywhere. We continue with our grassroots movement. Right now there are several organizations. I belong to Iguayagua, which is based out of Quisqueya or the Dominican Republic, but we invite all, whether they're Boricuas from Boriquen or Puerto Rico, Haiti, Jamaica, and all the islands that have Taino people, and we embrace our cousins, our Caribs, our Laconos, our Garifuna brothers and sisters, because we all have a common heritage. We all have that common language that we share. So with this, now we're respected. Instead of being, oh, look at those Puerto Ricans dancing at the powwow, now they're saying, oh, look at those people, they're Taino, and we've come a long way, baby.
That's powerful. I'd like to say thank you for taking the time.
In terms of the grassroots, I just wanted to say we are from the earth. I think grassroots is an appropriate term because it's our roots. We're coming from the earth, we're people, and we're growing. The movement is growing, like Nana said. We are not extinct, we are here, we're proud, and aquí estamos, Daca Taino.
Daca Taino.
in the movement since it began here in New York City back in 1990. So it's almost of a quarter of a century. And today, I'm emceeing and I've organized this Bronx Native American Festival, which brings together Native people from all over the Western Hemisphere, and we interact with everyday people who are not Native. Throughout the year, I travel across the country lecturing, storytelling, and reading poetry about the indigenous heritage of all the areas of North Central, South America, and the Caribbean. And I focus very often on my Taino heritage, even though some people say it's extinct, it's very much alive. And a good example is all the events we set up today. And here they're interacting and celebrating heritage along with the Lakota, Navajo, Oneida, and many other Native peoples.
Thank you again for taking a short time for speaking with me briefly, and give thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Jorge Estevez.
And what I would like to ask you today is, what does Taino spirituality represents to you?
Well, to me, it represents unity among people. I think when we understand our ancestral beliefs, it kind of connects us to them and also to ourselves, to the contemporary people today.
So, what I would like to ask for the community, what kind of research do you find as far as the survival of the Taino spirituality as a people and as a whole?
Well, right now, personally, I've been investigating what is called agua dulce in the Dominican Republic. It's part of the religiosity known as the 21 División, but I found that as its own entity, in certain regions of the island, there's a lot of connection to the same things that you find in the chronicles. A lot of the same names have survived, a lot of the ceremonies have survived, and that's basically what I'm doing now, just looking for those connections and basically demonstrating that it wasn't just genetics and culture, but also our religiosity did make it into the 21st century.
So one of the last questions I would like to ask you is, how important is grassroots for the Taino community as far as learning for the children to learn and the community as a whole to learn about their culture?
Well, you know, I mean, it's definitely true that if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going. I think this is a great time because for people from the Caribbean, we're going through this self-discovery and we're learning things about ourselves that we never knew before, or rather it's been there, but definitely we weren't aware of. And we do have this indigeneity that survives in the island, and we're just becoming aware of it now. Consciously, but it's definitely always been there.
So in closing, what I would like to ask you is, where can they find more information on the Taino spirituality? I know there's a website from the Smithsonian.
In the Smithsonian, we have a website for a project that we're working on. It's called the Caribbean Indigenous Legacies Project, which is leading to an exhibit that was due out in 2017. The website is tainolegacies.com, and there's lots of articles, not just on religiosity, but also on culture, language, etc., etc. It's a work in progress, you know. I'm actually in charge of uploading all the new information, but it's a lot of work, and hopefully by the end of the year we'll have a lot more information out there for the masses.
Okay, well, thank you again. This is Peter Morla with the Elder, and we'll see you soon.
This elder stuff, you need to cut that out, bro. I'm just kidding. Thank you.
See you next time.
All right.
Dancer, storyteller from the beautiful island of Quisqueya. She's a fabulous Taino woman. Let's give it up for Irka Mateo.
Yes, I'm Irka Mateo. Today is the equinox, September 21st, 2014, and we are in Pelham Bay Park.
Okay.
Beautiful forest. Yeah.
Okay. So the first question I would like to ask you is, what does Taino spirituality represent to you today?
The Taino spirituality is my way of life. It's my connection to nature, and it's the connection to people and to everything that is alive and the universe.
Okay. So what I would like to ask you is, to the community out there, the conscious community, we would like to learn about the spirituality, the Taino spirituality in the DR, in the diaspora.
In the DR, we honored Anacaona. You know that back in the times when the caciques and the cacicas as Anacaona, they were very, they were worshipped. And we still have that in the Dominican Republic. So, for example, in San Juan de la Maguana, which is in the southwest of the island, we worship Anacaona. She's there in the form of a crab. People believe that she's still there in a place called La Agüita de Liborio. And so people go to this place to get a healing. And when they get there, they go to a little cave where she is as the form of this crab to receive the blessing and for getting the healing. So she will be like, today she's like a shaman there in this place. And she's believed to be the queen of the San Juan de la Maguana Valley. The people know that she's the one who how you say, who is the main figure, there, who governs the San Juan de la Maguana Valley. Also in San Juan de la Maguana, we have what we call there El Corral de los Indios, which is a Taino ceremonial site where we used to do the areitos, and we used to also play the batu, the ball game. And in the center of this place, there is a very big stone that is called the Piedra Anacaona, the stone of Anacaona. So other rituals are done there in this place. And around this Corral de los Indios, there is a woman who is a shaman, and she's in charge of keeping all this Taino spirituality alive, and she does this ritual here for Anacaona. Also, we have Liborio Mateo, and he's considered he was a shaman and a spiritual leader, and he's also considered a reincarnation of Kaunabo. Kaunabo was the chief of Maguana, and he married Anacaona, who was the chief of Jaragua. So when they married, Anacaona went to live to Maguana. So this couple was very, very, very loved, and the most remembered caciques of the whole Quisqueya. And so it is said that Liborio is a reincarnation of him, and he is the how you call that? His husband, Anacaona husband, you know. So if you see Liborio Mateo, who was the shaman, the spiritual leader, also is Anacaona's husband, and they together in La Agüita de Liborio, which is a sanctuary, they heal the people. So they are also considered shamans, the two of them. Also, we still have what is called the Seminism, so that we understand that the rocks are representation of the god and goddesses. And that also there in La Agüita de Liborio, well, in the Calvary of Liborio, before getting to La Agüita, like half a mile before, where you have to go to get the permission to go to La Agüita to get healed. There is a very big semi, and they say that this semi heals or helps the women to give birth. So the women who are pregnant, they go there to sit on this rock, this semi, and get the benediction of the people who keep the Calvary. So the Seminism is still alive there also. There are other stones that I have seen in other places around Maguana Riva, and they believe that they are virgins. So there you can see the syncretism. There is a lot of syncretism with the Catholicism there, but they keep it like something something that is very good omen for their houses. Another thing that I have seen about Taino spirituality is the cult to the sun, also in San Juan de la Maguana. In the Calvary of Liborio Mateo, there in every morning we do the ritual to the sun, and which is in syncretism with San Nicolás del Sol, San Nicholas of the Sun, and which is a Catholic saint. So every morning when the sun is coming up, this person who is already deceased, Reina Jimenez, she used to go to the corner where the sun was coming up, and she was helping like the sun to come up to the earth, and she would say praise to the sun for keeping them safe during the day, and that nothing bad came to their house, that nobody who had bad intentions came to their houses, to keep good health, spiritual, mentally, and physical. And so she did this also in the afternoon when the sun was coming down. So they helped also the sun come down and give thanks for the whole day that passed well, and also asking the sun that when he's away to keep the good harmony in the place when he's away and the moon is coming up. So there we see the sun as it is related to the caciques. We can see Kaunabo was there. Kaunabo was one of the most strongest caciques in Quisqueya, so we can see how we still have this cult to the sun that is related with the power of the cacique, and Kaunabo being there, and Anacaona. So this is a very magical place there. Another thing that I have seen, and this is also in San Juan de la Maguana, but this person now live in Asua. They still keep the ritual of Yucahu, which is the three-pointed semi, that when they're going to plant, they take Yucahu and they put it they put it in the yuca, and now the platanos, whatever, if we have other staples that were not from the time, of the ancestor, they also use it, but they mostly use it with the yuca. So they know, they have forgotten that this is yucahu bagua maurokoti, but they take a little stone that they find in the same ground where they are going to plant, and they put it under the yucca, on the yucca roots, and ask this stone to help them, grow a healthy and abundant. And when they're ready to take the yucca out, so they take back the stone, which is yucahu, and put it in an altar. This stone goes to an altar that they have in their houses, and goes there, and when the yucca is ready 9 months later, then they take it and they put it back to the altar. So every time that they are going to plant, they also use it. They don't remember that it's yucahu, but they know because of generations. This woman got this ritual from her mother, and the mother from her mother. So this is something that has been passed generation to generation, and has lost the names, but the ritual and the intention is still there, and they really believe on this.
So the next question I would like to ask you is if you can talk a little bit more about who was Liborio Mateo.
Yeah, Liborio Mateo, he was a peasant who was born in the late 1800s, and he was born in the times where people, it's a second trip of people coming from Europe and from Italy and the Middle East, because they were coming from the Lebanon, got to the south of the Dominican Republic to Aguana, and they were the first people who started measuring the land and selling the land. So the peasants, they got stripped out of their lands, and Liborio Mateo started like a defender of the peasants, but he suddenly transformed into a spiritual leader. There is a mystical explanation. There was a hurricane out of season that took him away, and when he came back, he was illuminated, and then he started to be a spiritual leader for the people, and soon after he started to do miracles. So people started to follow him, and he also started to heal the people. So Liborio Mateo, he was very active, and many people from all over the country were following him. And so the government in those times, it was by the time it was already like 1914, something like that, they started to get scared, because they thought that he could become a political leader. So he went to jail, but like a couple of times. But the people, from the government, they knew that he really that he was just a spiritual man. But anyways, you never know. So he continued, in the west, the southwest part of the Dominican Republic is still very abandoned, and in those times they didn't have schools or doctors or churches, or because the DR in those times was very Catholic. And so he represented all this. He was the doctor, he was the teacher, and he was the spiritual leader. So in his person, everything got together. So that is why he became so important, because people were just abandoned. They didn't know what to do, where to go. So that is why Liborio Mateo was somebody so important in those times. And then in 1916 we had the first occupation of the Marines in the Dominican Republic, and they got together with the Dominican government, and they thought that Liborio Mateo was a threat to the stability of the country, and they started chasing him. He was he became a guerrillero and a fugitive, and he was around all these mountains with 100 men in horses and with weapons who were accompanying him. He was very, very loved and protected. And he also will travel with musicians, because Liborio also, he used to heal dancing with the music of the accordion and also with the percussion music. So Liborio had a 17 fights with the Marines, but just with stones and these men who had all these weapons. And finally, his son was killed in a battle, and then he was killed like some minutes after. And so after that, Irka Mateo became a legend, and also it became dangerous. It became against the law to have a cult for Irka Mateo. So everything went underground until the 1960s when things were liberated after Trujillo. And but he is a messiah. He's a messiah, and people are still waiting for him for his return. And we have the cult to Irka Mateo, and we know that he's a shaman, and so people go to the Agüita de Liborio to get healed by him.
Okay, so what I would like to ask next and give thanks, what kind of work are you doing currently?
Well, I'm playing, I'm singing all these Taino rhythms that we can still find in the traditional music of the Dominican Republic, in the folkloric celebrations that are for the seasons, and also in the syncretism with the different Catholic saints. So I'm playing all these rhythms. I also do my own songs over these rhythms: bomba, hakana, maboba, hirapega. And also I am now producing a film. I'm producing a film on Taino mythology for families. So people, my intention is to do a series of 10 episodes and to put them in television, so the children of Dominican Republic first, and then Puerto Rico and Cuba, so put it in television in the Caribbean and Latin American, wherever, so people can start appreciating and knowing about all this culture that we have.
Okay. So what I would like to ask you next, I know you have a new album or a single, if you can speak about that.
Yeah. This album that I'm doing now, it's based on the accordion music that I documented while I was in the Irka Mateo's Calvary. I spent 7 years going there, and I have an archive of interviews and music and rituals of the people who went for getting healed, and from the people who are the spiritual leaders there. So this music is very upbeat and beautiful. So what I'm doing is that I'm healing through this accordion music. It's popular music, and I'm continuing the healing work through the joy that the accordion music and the percussion brings. So this is my new project, and we hope that the album is going to be out in March next year. You never know, but because studio things, but
right.
Next year is going to be out there, and I'm really loving this project. I feel like this is myself, and this is the work that I have to do on this earth.
Okay, thank you very much. And before closing, is there any way that the people can reach to you, or where to find your music?
Yes, you can go to my website, irkamateo.com. IRKAMATEO. Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Peter.
Thank you again. Peace.
Ataveira Germán, Guacarapito, Suimaco Ataveira, recibe mi ofrenda, Dios trae las mujeres, Suimaco Ataveira, Taveira Yermán Guacarapito Taveira Yermán Diosa de las mujeres Diosa de la luna Diosa de las aguas Thank you. bombaje